last time on It Went Horribly Wrong, past Text 206 started to get a crush on a girl in his class named Elizabeth during one of her presentations, and because of this, he started to be nervous every time he was around her. So he went on a mission to try to find a way to face his fears and win over her heart. This led to his mother giving him a book on how to talk to girls, which didn't help, and to Elizabeth giving him a Valentine's Day card that said, "You are kind and outgoing," and he took it surprisingly well. 1 year later, his friends figured out who he had a crush on, and the four of them made a four-way pinky promise to never tell anyone who they had crushes on. But a few months later, to no one's surprise, Elizabeth found out. And after Tex went to confront all three of his friends, he learned that possibly none of them actually ratted him out. And after coming to the conclusion that probably someone overheard them talking about it one day, Elizabeth was making her way towards Tex to confront him on the matter. Meanwhile, future Tex 206 is trying to complete Kirby's Star Allies without Kirby killing him in the process, and making his way to his old elementary school to get some closure.
I heard someone calling out my name, besides the many names that were calling me out to pass the ball over to them. I ignored it. I passed the ball over to someone else, and I was open. They passed it to me again. I was about to aim for a three-pointer hoop shot, and then I heard it again. And I'm like, oh, I know that voice. That's Elizabeth, isn't it?
Okay, before we continue, we're gonna have to go back a few months in the past because this is gonna help at least explain what I do going onward from here, okay? So let's just go back a couple months before Elizabeth went to confront me. So we are in lunch recess, but it's indoors since it's raining outside, and the popular kids were congregating at the round table like they usually do in indoor recess. And Samuel, which was a good buddy of mine because we both went to an outside tutoring thing called Kuman, and he would come to my house after school like once or twice a week. We would work on our Kuman work and then would have some free time until his aunt came and picked him up from my house. And he was showing off his Pokemon card binder, and I was peeking over around his shoulder looking at his cards and like, wait a minute, what is that card? I have never seen that Pokemon card before. It was a Wailord. I have seen Wailord before, but I've never seen a Pokemon card that had 200 HP. A Wailord with 200 HP. Now at the time, with the Pokemon cards I had, none of them could ever reach 200 HP. Only my EXs were close enough. My Zekrom EX at the time was like 190 HP. It didn't even reach 200, so I was mind blown at the fact that a normal card can have that much HP. I'm like, yo, Samuel, what the heck is this? Freaking 200 HP Wailord, how do you even have something like that? He's like, well, this Pokemon card kind of sucks. I only have it just because it has 200 HP. I'm like, well, if you don't want it, can I have it? He was like, yeah, sure, but you're gonna have to battle me for it. Now, Pokemon card battles worked differently in elementary school because we weren't skilled and didn't have the attention span to play it properly, and we really didn't know how to play it properly, so we did it like the Pokemon games would. 6 Pokemon, any of the 6 Pokemon cards that you had on you, you can use during battle and you could swap, but you can't go back and forth and back and forth. Once you swapped, you had to wait at least one turn to swap again afterward. And then energies, instead of using the energies to attack, if it matched your type and you gave it to that Pokemon, its HP would increase by 10 and its attack would increase by 10. And whoever was able to knock out the opponent's 6 Pokemon first would win. So that's how we played it back then. I call it the cheat man's way of playing the Pokemon card game. So me and Samuel stepped aside and started to have our Pokemon battle. But during the middle of the battle, Elizabeth decided to join the popular kids table. I'm like, wait a minute, why is Elizabeth there? Well, I guess she has one of her friends that are popular, is a popular kid, so they would allow her to sit there. And I'm like, didn't think much of it at the time. But near the end of a Pokemon card battle, Samuel had 2 Pokemon cards left, and I had 2 Pokemon cards left, and mine was about to fate. The popular kids were on the topic of crushes, and I'm like, oh gosh, if freaking, hopefully they just skip over Elizabeth, or Elizabeth just doesn't want to say who she has a crush on. That would be the best possible outcome. No. She was going to say it. It eventually came to her turn. Then she said it. She had a crush on Erwin. guy right here is Erwin. We're gonna call him Erwin in this story. He's not actually named Erwin, but we're gonna call him Erwin in this story. Now, there are many problems with this. 1, he is a popular kid. Of course, that's problem number 1. Number 2, he had the charms. Number 3, he had the looks. Number 4, he had athletic stamina. And number 5, he had the confidence that I lacked. All of these things I lacked. How the heck am I going to outshine and freaking impress Elizabeth if I'm nowhere close to what he is? I'm like, well, that pretty screwed up. That's pretty screwed up. I don't know what to do from here. And I had plans earlier on that year to tell her that I had a crush on her. I was like, that's it. I'm not going to keep this a secret anymore. I'm going to freaking tell her this year. And I'm like, if that's her standards, how am I gonna? Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to try to impress her somehow. We're gonna have to push that back a little bit. But we already know how that went. Text. I switched my Pokemon out. It's your turn. I'm like, okay. Wait, is that a Psychic type Arceus? Yeah, so I lost that battle. And he's like, alright, looks like you're gonna have to trade me for that Wailord. I'm like, can we also juice in the deal and add in that Psychic type Arceus? He's like, okay, sure, I guess. Like, I'll only give it to you if you give me yours. I'm like, no, the whole point of wanting it because I wanted 2 of them. And, well, I ended up having to trade my Electric type Arceus for his Psychic type Arceus. And my level X Galactic Dialga for his Wailord. That was a horrible trade, and I regret it every single day. I literally traded for a worse Arceus. And after being bummed out about that, I'm like, oh right, Elizabeth likes Erwin. How am I gonna freaking compete against someone like that? Well, looks like I'm gonna have to go back to the drawing board and find out how to impress her some way. Though, just to note, when it was Erwin's turn to say he had a crush on a girl we're gonna call, Caitlin. And Caitlin's also a popular kid, so, okay, there is still a chance for me to win over Elizabeth somehow. There is at least a slight chance. At least he doesn't have interest in her. That's good news for me. And I'm like, okay, just play it cool. Nothing is wrong. Act like nothing is wrong. Act like you don't know what's about to go down right now, even though everything is wrong and I'm having a mental panic attack. But I tried to keep it cool as best as I can. From what I remember, I think I was pretty good at it. And I said, hey, Elizabeth, what's up? And she said, well, I heard from someone that you liked me. You know those things, like in the movies, when someone's in thought process, like everything starts to go like super slow-mo? Yeah, that's pretty much what happened here, but like on a much smaller scale. I was in-depth in thought thinking, what am I going to say here? She freaking found out, and she had to bring her friends along with her. This doesn't freaking help the situation. I have to be honest here. If I lied, it would make me look bad. But then I'm like, wait a minute. There is a loophole I can get through here. She said like. She didn't say crush. So, confident as ever, I took a gulp and I said this. Yeah, like, as a friend.
I'm waiting for praise. Praise me, damn it.
And she went along with it. She said, oh, yeah? So, like, if we're friends, you will come play hot potato with us, right? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, I'll go. Like, they won't even notice I'm gone. So, the rest of recess, I was playing with Elizabeth and her friends hot potato while I was having a mental panic attack in my head. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was a close call. How the heck did I even do that? Maybe she still knows and she's just playing along. But yeah, that's pretty much what happened. She never really brought up that topic again during recess. And then the bell rang and we went back inside and I told my friends what happened. More like they came to me asking what happened first. So it was like, well, text, what happened? I saw that she went to talk to you. What happened, man? And it's like, well, here's what happened. So I gave them the lowdown, and Carlos was like, dude, you got a horseshoe up your butt. How the heck did she believe that? And Michael's like, well, she probably didn't. She honestly knows. So she's probably gonna come and find you again sometime in recess and reword her phrase a bit where you can't make a loophole with it. And I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. And Nick was like, you better make sure you have something prepared this time, man. And I was like, I know, but you know what? How about this? I freaking avoid her for the rest of the recess. And then I can come up with a better excuse tomorrow. Yay! Or just be straight up honest. But it was like, well, good luck with that. She found you the first time, she's gonna find you a second time. And then class went on, normally, normal class. But me literally trying to think of responses to say what to say when Elizabeth confronts me again.
So yeah, here we are. This is my old school. This is the playground I used to play in all the time at recess. Yeah, it's been a while. It's like, I think the spot that where everything went down, just right over there, past the 2 goalposts. So we're gonna make our way there. And man, elementary school, man, it's been a long time. I'm sorry I haven't come to visit you in a long time.
So there's at least 1 hour left before last recess would kick into gear, and my teacher thought, why not? Let's do a group assignment. I'm like, oh no, please, for the love of all that is holy, please, let us choose the groups. And yeah, we could choose the groups. I'm like, hell yes, but it was a group of 4. And guess what my friends already did? They conformed a group without me. I'm like, guys, please, why? Guys, why did you do this to me? Guys, please. And then I'm trying to ask everyone, could I join their group? Anyone but Elizabeth's. And nope, I was stuck. And there's only one group left, and that was Elizabeth's group, with her friend Janine, and also a friend of hers, Harry. Now I just gotta say something about Harry. If you knew who Harry was back in elementary school, you already know why I'm gonna be calling him as Harry, because he looked straight like Harry Potter. They're inviting me over to come join the group. I'm like, well, this is it. I'm screwed. So, reluctantly, I moved my desk over with their desks to form the 4-way group desk thing that you usually do for group assignments. And I tried to avoid as much contact as I could with Elizabeth so she wouldn't bring up anything and wouldn't freaking talk to me. Did not want that to happen. And I'm like, it's a group assignment. Maybe she won't say anything. Hopefully, because there's like 2 bystanders here. That would kind of be not ideal for me if she brought it up with these 2 people here. But of course, she did. During the middle of the assignment, she asked, hey, Text, I know you have a crush on me. And I'm like, that wasn't a question, that was a statement. How do I make a comeback on that? So at the time, my mind felt like it was about to explode from a panic attack. There was no way out of it. She said crush. She did not say like this time. She said crush. There's no loopholes around for me to get around this time. And I'm like, well, there's only one option to do, and that's to be honest. So I reluctantly said it. Elizabeth, I do kind of have a crush on you. And then she started to laugh with Janine a little bit, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Like, who am I kidding? Trying to actually freaking think I had a shot with Elizabeth and not a chance. It makes sense why they would be laughing at me. It is pretty freaking stupid. But I mustered up the courage and I said, what's so funny? I just wanted to make sure it wasn't what I thought it was. And she said, your cheeks are blushing. That's so cute. And I'm like, thanks, I guess. And then they continued to giggle to each other, and pretty much the rest was history. That's what happened, and we continued to work on the assignment. And she did ask me a couple questions about me having a crush on her. First off, the one that I mainly remember was, when did you start having a crush on me? And I gave her the plain simple story of how it happened in grade 3, but I did not mention the How to Talk to Girls book. And I don't really remember what her reaction was. I think she just said, oh, okay. And that was it. And then the last 10 minutes before recess was about to start, we had to move our desks back to where they were originally. And before Elizabeth moved up and moved her desk, I mustered up the courage. She asked me questions. It was about time that I asked one myself. So I mustered up the courage and said, Elizabeth, by any chance, do you have feelings for me? I was grasping at straws here. Why would she like me? What did I do to make her like me? Besides the cheek blush thing, which kind of inflated my ego a little bit. And she said, maybe a little bit. I was like, maybe a little bit? But doesn't she have like a thing for Erwin? Wait, I'm so confused. And she said, well, I kind of have a thing for Erwin right now, but you still have a chance to win me over. And I'm like, oh, okay. Good to know. It surprisingly went well. It didn't go too bad. So I was pretty happy with myself. And then the school bell rang, and I went outside, and my friends came to find me. Now this is where things started to take a turn for the worst. So me and my friends met up at recess, and they were like, dude, that was unlucky of you. You got freaking caught up in her group. What happened? Did she mention it? And I'm like, yeah, she mentioned it. And I told her everything. You told her everything? Yeah, I told her everything. I got nothing else to do. I was caught in the corner. I felt like I had to be honest at this point. She said crush this time, so I had to be honest.
And I think I'd say right about here, this spot right here, almost 9 years ago is where all went down. Right here. Man, that makes me feel really freaking old. But yeah, so basically my friends started pushing me towards Elizabeth, which was somewhere over there, or someone did, one of my 3 friends did. Let's go call her to say, oh, I want to talk to you. Well, I mean me. And then I'm being freaking dragged over here by my friends. And then the 3rd person comes back to try to help pull me towards that. And then I'm like, my reputation's over already. This is freaking embarrassing. My friends are hauling me over to the girl I had a crush on. She just figured out this isn't gonna freaking work already. My chances are already down in the dumps. So I made a break for it. I did a back fall. It's basically, in karate, you basically fall back and then lie back on your arm, putting all your force on your arm, or whatever arm you decide to slam down on the ground. And yeah, that hurt a little bit, but it made me get away from my friends' grasp a little bit. And then I tried to get back up. They grabbed me by my feet, by my shoes, and then I was getting dragged as I tried to grasp on to the freaking grass here. And I'm like, well, this is even more embarrassing now. I'm starting to have a panic attack. Elizabeth edges even closer, and I'm like doomed. This is like so embarrassing. I look like a total rage baby. So I did the only thing that a cowardly introvert would do. I booked it. You see, as a kid, I still technically do this now. I tied my shoes loose enough so I could slip my foot out, no problem. See? Oh boy. Yeah, so then that's what I did. I slid my feet out of my shoes, and then barefoot with my socks started running circles around this place. Circles and circles for the rest of the whole recess. And keep in mind the recesses were like 15 minutes, I think. Could be half hour, but I'm pretty sure it was 15 minutes. Half hour seems too long. And I went like around possibly like 4 to 3 times until I ended up at that hill. My friends still chasing after me, and Elizabeth still closer. And she wasn't even running like my friends were after me. She was just straight walking like Vladimir Putin, slowly towards me. Great. Now I have that cursed image in my head. Crap. Oh well. Anyway, so yeah, it's at that hill till the bell rang, and then everyone slowly started to make their way back here to line up to get back into school. And yeah, I slowly started to walk back as I had seen everyone started moving back. And that was the end of that. That was where everything went wrong. But man, it's been so long. Can't believe this was what was keeping me from coming back here after all these years. Wow, I better start going home. It's probably close to around supper time now, so I better get a move on. Goodbye, Old Elementary School. It's nice to see you one more time. Maybe I'll come visit you in the teachers in the future once the cough is gone. Okay, so there's still a little bit about what happened after I went inside. There's still a little bit to talk about, so I'll explain that as I make my way back home.
After that, well, I just went back into class. My friends gave back my shoes, and they were just calling me a chicken. I'm like, yeah, screw you guys too. They gave me back my shoes, and then thankfully none of the teachers noticed I did not have my shoes on. Thankfully. And I didn't rat them out because I was afraid that if I tattled on them, they would freaking hate me and I would lose my friends because of that. And I already had a track record of having my friends leave me. And not because of them leaving, it's because like they were moving to another place and I never really got to see them again or keep in touch with them. So yeah, that I didn't want that to happen again. This would be like what, the fourth time it would happen. I didn't want it to happen again. I didn't want to be without friends again. So I decided I'm just gonna have to freaking live with it. And heck, till this day, they never even said sorry about it. It's kind of a douche canoe move to do, to not say sorry about what happened that day ever, but you know, and who cares, it's in the past now. Near the end of class, Elizabeth confronted me and she said, "Tex, why were you running away from me during recess? You wanted to talk to me, didn't you?" I'm like, "No, sorry. My friends were just being a bunch of buttholes and teasing me about having a crush on you. And I didn't want to talk to you, at least at recess." Then school bell rang, went home, told my parents what happened, and I locked myself in the room for the rest of the night, the rest of the day. Well, besides the time I went to have supper, of course. And I just stood in my bed, looking at the wall, thinking of how that day was so bad. This was the worst freaking day of my life. Then eventually I fell asleep, and it was the next day. After that, everything was pretty normal. Nothing dramatic happened. Nothing too crazy. Just my friends teasing me more and more about having a crush on Elizabeth, which mentally did not do too good for me. Like, I thought having a crush on Elizabeth was a bad thing at this point because they kept freaking ridiculing me for having a crush on Elizabeth. And then also every time they would do that, it would remind me of what happened that day, and I didn't want that happening again. So that nervousness with Elizabeth turned to fear. I did try to avoid her as much as I could because I was afraid if I even talked to her or even tried to impress her in some way, my friends would blow it out of proportion. And I did not want to have a repeat of what happened that day. I kept my distance, and since that day my heart has been split, and still to this day it's kind of like this. Half of my heart had feelings for Elizabeth and had the hope that I can still possibly make things work between us, maybe. And then there was the other side of my heart, which was like afraid of her. Like, I was afraid of what would happen if I tried anything. And that was pretty much how I was like for the next few years. It was just like that. And with that pretty much ends the day it all went wrong. So now let's get on to grade 7. So not much to talk about here. There's only like two minor things to really talk about, and the first one was the new friend I was introduced to via Nick, and his name, we're gonna call him Moose. Now, the reason why I'm calling him Moose is because I thought his last name, when I first heard it, sounded like Moose, but no, it didn't. So yeah, just for nostalgia's sake, I'm gonna call him Moose for this video. So I don't know how, but Moose had the perfect balance between smartness and strength. I don't know, he was like literally yin and yang, one being with knowledge, one being strength. And he was from Romania. He wasn't even like English as his first language. At least I'm pretty sure he wasn't, because he really didn't talk too much in grade 6 from what I remember. Either that he's just shy or that English wasn't his first language. I don't really remember. But he would get straight 80s and above no matter what, mainly because his parents would kill him. And he's able to lift us for like at least 10 to 20 seconds, and none of us could do that, like not overhead, but just like slightly lift us off the ground for like at least 10 to 15 seconds. The best I could do was Nick for at least 5 seconds. I couldn't even do it for that long. So yeah, freaking, I don't know, man. He had the freaking knowledge, and he even had the freaking strength to boot. I don't know how he does it. But yeah, and then also near the end of grade 7, at the end of grade 7, that's when Michael moved as well. But we still kept in contact a little bit after that. I think like around my 12th birthday is when the last time we talked. Now, let's actually get into the, I guess, the main thing of this grade, and that has something to do with my bestest friend at the time before Carlos became my best friend tied with him. His name was Matthew, also known as PyX14, pretty much my best friend all the way since grade 4. Always had my back. We were still best friends till this day. So it was near the end of the month, and I thought, why not? Let's go ahead and hang out with Matthew. And also, I'm probably going to alternate between Pi and Matthew a lot for this thing. So Pi and Matthew are literally the same thing. So just letting you know. Yeah, why not? Let's get Pi to see if he can come over for the weekend. So he would come over after school on Friday, and then his mom would come and pick him up on Sunday to take him home afterwards. His mom agreed, and it was like, hell yeah, this is going to be one hell of an exciting weekend. And I was planning out what we were going to do for that weekend, but then my parents 2 days later like, text, there's parent-teacher interviews this Friday. I'm like, oh no, but his mom already said yes. So we have to call her back, and she said, well, I kind of already made plans. I guess it should be fine, just make sure that he doesn't get into any trouble. And I'm like, yes, this is gonna be awesome. I get to show him around the school. This will be awesome. And I can finally show him the places where all the events went down while I told him about things, and especially the day when all went wrong. Of course, I told him that. So yeah, Friday finally came. Matthew was dropped off at my house. We hanged out for a bit at my house. We had supper, and then we went to parent-teacher interview. We were waiting outside Mr. Chile's classroom, and it was literally the exact same classroom as last year as well. And I was pretty much giving him the lowdown of all the classrooms, at least in this hallway. And then it was my turn for my parents to go in, and it's like, okay, you don't need to go in again since we've been through this thing already. He's just literally going to update us on how you're doing again this year. And it was like, okay, see you later. So then I'm like, all right, Pi, you ready? It's time for the grand tour of my school. Are you ready? So I took him by the hand and we started to go, and I was thinking, where are we gonna go first? You know, the library seems like a hit or miss place to start off with. It could be the best thing and it could be the worst thing, mainly because of the smart bird. So I'm like, yeah, why not? Let's go introduce him to the library first. So as we're making our way down the hallway, right at the intersection where it splits off between the hallway for the big kids side, the hallway that leads to the little kids side, the entrance, well, the side entrance to the gym, and down the hallway where the washrooms are and the library would then go to, and then the main office of the school. Guess who was coming down the hallway? We're about to go down. Elizabeth and her mom. And I'm like, oh, no, that's, yeah, no, not today. I looked at Pi and I'm like, we gotta bounce.
What? Dude, what was that about?
Slight detour. I thought, hey, why not just go and go to the little kid side first? You know, that out of the way since we're already passing by, so we don't need to loop around and go back there.
Okay.
So then I pretty much gave him the tour and told him what class I had in there, what grade I was in, and then maybe a story that I may have told him, and then like this is the class where it happened and stuff like that. And then we got to grade 4, the end of the hallway, and I'm like, well, that's the little kid side, and now you pretty much know all of the classrooms and all that stuff, so now we can go to the library. As soon as I turn around, guess who's down the hall walking straight forward towards us? Elizabeth and her mom again, but someone else was with her. I'm like, wait, what is she even doing here? But then I saw him, like, wait a minute. She has a younger sister. I've seen her before, but I never put 2 and 2 together that they were sisters. I had something wrong with me. I never noticed it. I don't know why. I accidentally said out loud, uh-oh. And then Matthew was like,
Oh no. Why oh no?
well, you see that girl coming down with her mommy?
Wait, isn't that the girl you have?
Zip it! Zip! No. Bad. Okay. Don't say that out loud, please. I know what you're gonna say, just please don't. Here's the plan. We're gonna make a mad dash down the hallway. She tries to say hi or whatever. Just say hi bye, and that's it. And just we'll run off, and then we'll go to the library. How's that sound?
Isn't that a bit rude just to ignore her like that?
Matthew, my bestest friend. Look, I entrusted you with a lot of my secrets. Mainly because I knew you wouldn't be here. Ever. But now that day actually happened, and you're here. And I don't have as much trust in you anymore. Especially when you were literally just about to say the girl I had a crush on. On the count of 3, we're gonna run down. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, go! And then we got out safely, avoided Elizabeth, and then continued the tour of the school. Then my parents came to find us once they were done. And then we headed back, and then we had a hell of a fun weekend playing Kirby's Return to Dreamland. So that ends grade 7. Literally, that's the only thing to mention. It's just me trying to make Matthew avoid Elizabeth so he wouldn't rat me out, because I'm already having trust issues with telling friends secrets at this point. Now, let's move on to grade 8. This is where things got a bit confusing for me. Now, grade 8. There are at least 4 things to talk about for grade 8, and this is where things got very confusing for me, because this is where the line between being friendly and making a move on kind of like was blurred. I did not know what was what. Yeah, first off, let's just start off with the way it all started. It was indoor recess. Usually during indoor recess, everyone would go for Jenga because that was the most popular game for indoor recess at the time. And luckily enough, me and the boys were able to get Jenga. So me, Moose, Carlos, and Nick were playing Jenga, and then also Elizabeth tagged along with Kim. Oh yeah, I never really mentioned Kim. She's always in the background, but yeah, Kim was also like I guess a good friend of mine. She was always in like my ESL class, and I took that instead of French. Yeah, so I only took French 2 years. I dropped out of grade 6 just to take more English. We were having Jenga, good time. I was still afraid of Elizabeth because she was finally in my class. Literally all the grade 8s were in one class finally again, besides the many people that moved. Like a lot of people moved between grade 6 and 7. So yeah, this classroom got a bit smaller, but there's still a lot of people who originated from all the way back from JK and SK and stuff like that. I was like, nothing is going wrong. This is good. Just having a casual, good old time playing Jenga. I'm happy with this. And nothing's going wrong. Something went wrong a few minutes later. And I don't remember how it got brought up, but Nick, of course, because he's always the one that always brought it up. Tex has a crush on Elizabeth still. And I'm like, why did you bring that up again? And of course, the day comes back, and then the emotions along with it, and I'm just like, fear. My fear is back, gosh freaking damn it. And I was like, look, Nick, it was funny the first few times back in grade 5. It was tolerable. Now, it's just getting really annoying. Can we please stop with that? It's not really a funny joke, more like you're just getting on my nerves at this point. Especially when she's right next to me. What are you doing? And everyone was just like, what the he does? No, I don't. And Elizabeth was like, do you still have a crush on me? Looked her dead in the eyes, and I said, no. That was a lie. I literally lied straight to her face. Again, the fear of what would happen that day. Again, if I admitted it. If I said yes, oh my god, who knows what freaking happened. Then it calmed back down, and then we continued to play Jenga, and that's pretty much all I really remember of that incident. Now, let's move on to the next incident, which actually happened literally I think probably like a few weeks later. So our teacher decided that was going to have a secret that we were going to have a secret Santa to celebrate Christmas. So I don't remember who I specifically got, but I think it was a girl or something like that. I'm like, okay, looks like I'm going to freaking Walmart sometime this week.
After that, Carlos came over to talk to me.
And said, yo, dude, I heard something you probably might want to hear. And it's like, what? Who did you get? Did you get Melanie? No, I didn't. Sadly. But Elizabeth has your name. It was like, haha, very funny. Now why would I believe you? I don't know, like, look, I know I've been teasing you about this and all that, but I want to be real with you here. She actually has your name. I overheard it, and I think she even traded for your name. I'm like, okay, that one's a bit outlandish, but her getting unlucky getting my name, that seems a bit more believable than her trading to get my name. I don't freaking believe you, Carlos. We'll see what happens. So now that seed was planted in my head, and I'm just like, great, what the heck is she even gonna give me if she got me from Secret Santa? I am just mind-boggled that could have been even a possibility and how that even happened. I'm like, Fate, are you working with me this time? Or more like against me? I'm trying to move on. I don't want to have a crush on her anymore. So, week went by. I already bought my gift for the Secret Santa I was given, and I think it was like a gift card or something. I don't know, maybe like a Walmart gift card or something like that. I don't know. That was like $10 or something like that. Then Secret Santa came. It was the day of Secret Santa. Just started to call out names for the person who got their name to give to that person. So eventually I went up to give my present to the person. I forgot who it was. I think they were pretty happy with it. They appreciated it. Then I went to sit back down, and eventually came my name, and guess who came straight towards me? It was freaking Elizabeth. I'm like, oh my... Carlos didn't lie? That is some character development for him right there. I took the gift from her, and I said, thanks. I opened it up. And to be honest with you, I can't remember what she got me. I know, this makes no sense. I remember she got me for Secret Santa, but I don't remember she got me as, like, for the present. Well, I do remember that I ate a lot of Smarties during that time, so I think she just got me Smarties, which was good play on that part, because, like, I have a peanut allergy, and the best way to play it safe with any kind of chocolate is to go with the Nestle chocolates, like Mars bars, Aeros, Kit Kats, Coffee Crisps, even though I hate Coffee Crisps because I don't like coffee. And she got me a bunch of Smarties. Something with, I think there was something with the Smarties that were different. I don't know. I don't really remember. I think they were like in the shape of something Christmassy or something like that. I don't really know. But I said, oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. This is when I started to say I appreciate it a little bit too much. And I went back to Carlos. I'm like, Carlos, I'm sorry for doubting you. And he's like, it's okay, dude. I understand. I get why you wouldn't believe me in the first place. Like, heck, I'm freaking teasing you and all about that. And I'm like, yeah, but do you really think she traded for my name? And I was like, that's just what I heard. I'm not really even too sure, but you see, I was right that she got your name. I'm like, yeah, you were at least right with that. So I started to gain a little bit of trust for Carlos after that. But now let's get on to the next part. And this one is more of an incident than this one. The third incident for grade 8. Actually, wait, no, not that one yet. We're gonna have to wait on that a little bit. There's one more thing that I always seem to forget, and it's this event in the library. And I only remembered this just recently because, again, my parents, well, actually I never mentioned this yet, I don't think, but my parents made me go through my DVD yearbooks because they were feeling nostalgic. They already watched my baby tapes. So I was like, okay, hey, text, go fetch the DVD yearbooks when in a nostalgic mood. And I'm like, fine. Yeah, I only remember this because this is, like, if anyone's from my grade 8 class, you can even check. Go check on the CD thing. You would see this picture for yourself. It's like a library sign. I think it was something to do with a book report, but you had to have, it was in a group. And of course, Elizabeth was paired up with me, and then also another person, we're gonna call her Lee in this story, were in my group. And I'm reading the book. Who the hell thought this was a good idea? Like, I think I already mentioned this before, but I'm dropped French to take extra English because my reading level was like 2 levels under compared to everyone else was. So I'd always stutter when I read stuff. Like, heck, you can probably even hear me stutter when I'm talking at times, mainly because I'm trying to think of the word that I want to say. I don't know whose bright idea was it for me to read the book. I hope to goodness gracious it was not me trying to flex me reading skills, because who the heck would find that attractive? No one would find that attractive unless you really like some Shakespearean writing. I guess this was no Shakespeare novel. It was literally a children's book. I don't know, unless we took turns reading it, I'm not too sure. But yeah, I don't know whose bright idea was it for me to freaking read.
Now we can get to the events that happened later on that year, and that was the graduation mass. Now, the graduation mass is where we went to church, since we were in a Catholic school, and go, oh, yay, you graduated, grade 8, yay, here's your diploma, good luck in high school, woohoo. And yeah, and then after that, everyone would go into a separate hall area, so the kids can, like, I guess, take one last picture with everyone in formal wear or something like that. And me and my friends were talking, and then I went to go talk to my grandma, because she came along with my my mom and dad as well. And she wanted to congratulate me, and of course I said thank you. I really appreciate it. Feels good to be graduating and going into high school soon. And then someone tapped my shoulder behind me. I turn around, and it's Elizabeth. I'm like, what the hell? I did not expect that. Well, no, I didn't get scared. I'm just like, slight surprised face happened, like, oh, like that kind of face. I didn't actually freak the frick out, but mentally I did. And I'm like, oh, hey Elizabeth, what's up? She said, you mind if I take a picture with you? I'm like, what did I just hear? Did I just hear her say she wanted to take a picture with me? Why? You know what? I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to freaking go with it. Okay, yeah, sure, why not? And my mom and her mom took a picture of the two of us, and I think there was like multiple takes as well, because I think my mom had two. I don't know. I've lost the photo. I don't know where it is till this day. Probably buried somewhere deep in my mom's backed up phone memory. I'm not gonna bother looking through that. But yeah, I was like, oh, congratulations on the award, since I think she got like an award for graduating or something like that. She said thank you and congrats on graduating, and then she went back to her friends, and I'm just like, why should you take a picture with me out of all people? I didn't see her taking pictures with anyone else, so I'm just like, And she probably taking pictures with everyone, and I was probably the last one on the list. And I just shrugged it off, and it was nothing. And then everyone had to leave because the next mass was about to start for the next school, so we had to bounce. So then me, my mom, my dad, my grandmother, and Emma and her family came along to celebrate, since we made plans that we were going to freaking celebrate at Swiss Chalet. Hell yeah. And it was one hell of a night. We literally stayed there from like, I think 6 to all the way to 9. We were there for like 3 hours freaking partying. Not really partying, but like celebrating at Swiss Chalet. And then we were getting tired. The kids were getting tired, so we left. And then usually big events like this, I usually tend to sleep at the back of the car on the car ride home. And my parents think that I actually passed out by then, but I was slowly drifting. I wasn't there yet. My mom brought up something to my dad. She was talking about how when her and Elizabeth's mom were taking a picture of the two of us, she said how we're always friends since the beginning of grade 1, and that we looked so cute together. The thing that triggered to me was like, so cute together. I'm like, what the, okay. What the hell is that? Secondly, I don't remember being friends with her in grade 1. What is this? And then I was pretty much freaking looking at my ceiling for the rest of the night, and the picture came back up. I'm like, what does this all mean? This is really confusing. I'm just gonna say this, I was tired, and I took things out of context. That was literally just small talk that we're having right there. My mom didn't want to say that when I was around, because she knew I would take that too much out of proportion. I am a bit of a drama queen, so yeah. That was pretty much it. It kept me up all night. I'm just thinking, like, what the heck does this all mean? Is she freaking starting to like me now? Near the end of the school year? Why? Why? I want to move on, but then now I'm thinking that she's liking me now? What the heck is going on here? I'm so freaking confused. And, yeah, and that was that. It's pretty short, but, that's pretty much pretty much what happened. And, now we go on to the last event. And this one was, oh boy, this is finally the last event and we can end this story. Even though there's one more thing to talk about in high school, but we'll get to that when I get to that.
So, now let's get into the last event of grade 8. And that was the graduation dance. Now, our teacher already told us a few weeks in advance that it was going to be a potluck, so everyone had to bring something to contribute. No matter what, you had to contribute. And I'm like, great. I don't want to freaking contribute. I'm like freaking heck, no one's gonna eat the stuff I freaking eat. Because most of the stuff I'm gonna pick, everyone's gonna pick anyway. So, okay, gotta think on my feet. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna pick? Ha! Pierogies. Literally a quarter of my class is literally Polish. Let's just do freaking pierogies. I know people will eat that. And, someone already put down pierogies. Kim, I'm looking at you. At least I'm thinking it's Kim. I don't know. I don't really know who bought pierogies then, but I'm pretty sure it was Kim. I'm like, okay, next idea. Hot dogs. Someone already picked hot dogs. Gosh, freaking damn it. And I'm like, well, those are my two favorite things. What am I gonna do? And then I thought, what outlandish thing would no one pick? You know what? We would do tacos. And, my parents were like, are you sure you want to do that? And I'm like, they took pierogies. Mammy, they took pierogies. What else do you want me to do? Hot dogs. They took the dogs too. They took the hottest of dogs. I can't do that either. And we have to contribute.
Okay, so that's the first time I've died since the first level. I'm sure Kirby will let me off easy this time, right guys? Right? You don't think he's gonna come and kill me again, right?
Fire!
You guys are liars. Okay, Kirby, look, alright? No need to come in with your shanking knife and threaten me. It's the final boss, I know, but like, come on, man, you cut me some slack here.
Fire!
Oh, you wanna go? Oh, you wanna freaking go? Alright, let's go!
You thought I came unprepared, Kirby. You know, I wouldn't come to a battle without my special fedora.
Fire! Fire!
What do you mean, empty scabbard? It's right here. Oh, right. Pine faded and broke my sword 2 years ago. It only lasted 2 weeks in Canada. Me damn it!
Fire! Fire!
Okay, yes, you may have a knife, but this thing is still made out of wood. It can still give you a pretty good concussion, not gonna lie.
Fire!
Come on, Kirby, I just got closure today, man. Like, I don't want to die. I haven't even reached my 20s yet.
Fire! Fire!
What to do? Wait a minute.
Totally not a cane. This is totally an axe.
Yeah, that might work. Yeah, I have one last final words for you, Kirby.
Fire!
Screw you, man!
Fire!
You thought I had no weapon? Well, guess what? I have this!
Fire! Fire!
No, it's not just a cane. It's an axe. For...
Now that that's done with, let's get back to finishing this story and Kirby's Star Allies.
It finally came to the graduation dance. Everyone has brought their potluck food. It has a huge table full of
so many foods. Holy crap, it was a lot of food. And we had to be semi-formal for this. It was like, great. Time to bring out the church clothes. I knew for a fact that I could have anything that Emma brought to the potluck, because she also had a nut allergy as well. So I knew whatever she would make, it would be okay for me to have as well. And I don't think she actually brought pasta. I don't know what she brought. I don't really remember. Because all I really remember is no one eating my tacos. No one ate them, man. No one ate my freaking tacos. I even told my friends, "Are you guys gonna have some tacos?" I was like, "Yeah, we'll have them later." I was like, "Okay." They never did. And then the dance thing happened. I danced a little bit. I got pooped. And then me and Carlos just sat at our seats, freaking looking at our phones for the most of the time. Well, iPods. I didn't have a phone yet. But with the combination of loud music, it being dark, and I'm just saying, with freaking iPods, their brightness, oh my god, it's like looking at light mode on Discord at minimum brightness. It's very bright. A combination of all of that and the occasional disco lights, yeah, I was starting to get a headache. I went to the teacher. I'm like, "Hey, can I go to the washroom, please? Sorry, someone's out." "Okay." I can suffer a little while longer. And then someone came back, and then it's like, "Nope, this person's gotta go first." I'm like, "What do you mean? There's a lineup to leave? Why is there a lineup to leave?" I guess that makes sense because, like, you weren't allowed to go out for recess. Your dance party was the recess. So I went in the corner to try to cover my ears a little bit so then the music wouldn't bother me too much. It helped a little bit. And tried to not look at my phone as much as possible so then the blinding light wouldn't kill me. But then Kim came around and said, "Hey Tess, what's wrong?" It's like, "Nothing, it's just I have a freaking big ass headache." And she said, "Why don't you come dance with us?" I'm like, "Nah, it's okay, I'm good. I'm just need to chill for a minute." And I'm like, "You know what? I had a freaking enough. You're not allowing me to go to the washroom? Screw it, I'm gonna freaking sneak out instead." And I'm like, "Where? The door's literally guarded by teachers. I can't sneak out." But there was one thing that I could think of to escape from the loud music, and that was the door to the backstage. That wasn't guarded. So when the teachers weren't looking, I went behind the door, and I hid there. I was like, "Damn, this feels so much better." Like, because like the DJ popping up all of our songs was like not on the stage, but like in front of the stage. So the curtains were closed, the door was closed, and like the sound was muffled. I'm like, "Oh, this feels so good." Next thing I hear, door slamming open and the teacher being very pissed that I was hiding. I'm like, "I'm not hiding. You didn't let me go to the washroom, and I'm having a huge headache." And she didn't believe me for crap. So I was in huge ass trouble. So I had freaking watch over me 24/7. And I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me, right?" Yeah. And then I went back to sit down on my seat, and Carlos was like, "Where have you been?" Trying to recover from my headache. Then eventually the party was over. Barely anyone ate my tacos. And so me and Carlos were talking when we were bringing my stuff all the way back to the car to load up. And then Carlos mentioned something. He's like, "Oh, I forgot to mention, when you were missing, Elizabeth wanted to dance with you." And I'm like, "Yeah, nice one, buddy. I'm not falling for that." Of course, when I'm missing and you never come up and ask again later on, yeah, no. I don't believe that. Carlos. That has a better chance of happening than me getting to 100 subscribers. Yeah, no. Well, look at that. I got the short end of the stick. And then with that, grade 8 was over. The last few days of school happened, and we said goodbyes to everyone. I said kind of goodbye to Carlos because he moved in between grades 8 and 7. But he was close enough to where he could still come to the elementary school. But he was too far away to go to the high school that mostly everyone else was. But we said goodbye to the people we know we wouldn't see in high school. And then summer vacation happened. And that was the end of grade 8. And does it still haunt me that day? After getting a bit of closure? No, not really. After going back to that spot where it happened almost 9 years ago, I feel a lot better. I don't get mad, sad, or worried about thinking about that day, or worried that something like that would happen again, because like we're matured now. I'm like more matured now, and no one would go out of their mind to do something like that anymore. Like that's like too childish. Yeah, I come to a little bit of closure on that, which is good, but I still have a little bit of a knots in my stomach when I do talk about it. But again, that's gonna take some time to heal. I think the only way to get like full closure on this is finding out who ratted me out back then, and was freaking Carlos telling the truth about that graduation dance thing, which I'm pretty sure it's not. It kind of just doesn't seem like it would happen, and I don't think I can even take his word for it if he would even tell me now, because if, oh yeah, spoiler alert, Carlos is Faded Rush. Faded and Pie broke my sword behind my back because I leave the room just to get snacks for all of us, and I come back and my sword is broken, and none of them could fess up to who freaking broke it. Do you really think I can expect like him to tell me about something that happened a few years ago? No, not really. Heck, they're still not honest with me about who damn broke the sword. And like, I don't really care too much anyway. At least for things in the current day, yeah, I can trust them on that kind of stuff. So, without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry I had to split this into 2 parts. As you can see by the length of the first part and the second part, it would have took forever to get this done. And on top of that, it would be such a long video, and I wouldn't be able to get it up around Valentine's Day or Family Day, so I decided to cut this in half. Release the first part on Family Day, and then have the second part released like 1 or 2 weeks later, depending whenever I have the time, because I had to do midterms, so I had to push the progress of this back a little bit. I'm blown away by the support of this video. I've never really made an actual Valentine's Day video before, so for the first one that actually put effort into, I'm surprised it did this well. So thank you so much, and without further ado, have a good time gaming, guys. Peace out, have an awesome day, and stay safe out there, and thank you for watching this Valentine's Day 2-part special. Bye bye.
Well. 6 years? Yeah, man. I'm about to be back soon.